in, get that level down just a little bit. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. What is today? Wednesday, January 22nd, 8 a.m. on the dot. Welcome to the Sliwa Show. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for being here. Monday through Friday right here on YouTube. Also doing the Laker post-game show, as you guys know. My bad last night. Could not do the show live. Had some other stuff that I had to handle. And then recorded it pretty late. But if you want just kind of a little bit of a Laker breakdown, I put that up. Just a recording, no video, but I did get that post-game show up. Got something up there before the night was over. What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's enjoying their morning. I got a quote for everybody here real quick, and then we're going to get the show started. Anyone who has never made a mistake has never tried anything new. All right, that's the quote of the day. Anyone who has never made a mistake has never tried anything new. Best thing you can do in life is keep trying different things. And then, hey, some things will work, some things won't. Phenomenal quote right there. So hopefully, by the way, these quotes are, in the beginning, I was like, I'll just do this every once in a while. I actually kind of like doing it once a day. And if it doesn't help you guys, it sort of helps me. So, I got to help myself in the process here as well. Good morning to everybody. I know the good mornings are starting to come. Cup of coffee, cup of Joe for everybody. I got a new, my girl went and got, I don't know. She got it, just a new coffee roast. I don't know. She got it from a grocery store. So I don't even know what I'm drinking, but this is phenomenal. Phenomenal. If I'm right, I think she said it was Ethiopian coffee. Oh, come on. You're not going to get better than that. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Start the day off with some Ethiopian coffee. So cheers to everybody on that. Let me give everybody a quick rundown of the show. I'll take a look at the comments, then we'll get the show started. I'll spend a little bit of time, not much, on that game last night, Lakers over the Washington Wizards. What a thrilling game. I mean, there's certain games in the year where you just take a step back and you say, wow, this is as good as it gets. And when the Wizards are in town, it does not get any better than obviously what we saw last night, Lakers and the Wizards. All right, I'm obviously completely joking around. But I got a couple things, I want to take away from that game. Dorian Finney-Smith finally had a pretty good game, so I want to talk a little bit about Dorian Finney-Smith. The only other thing I want to talk about from last night's game is we got a chance to see Jonas Valanciunas. And I just asked Laker fans, this question, and we'll kind of get a little bit into his game. Do you want Jonas on the team? Like, is that the answer? Is the answer that that's the player that's going to kind of change things for the Lakers? I don't have an answer for you, but I'll give you my opinion on that. We got a chance to see Jonas play yesterday. You've been hearing his name around the Lakers for a while. Is that a game changer? Is that a player that you feel like, hey, Lakers get Jonas, watch out? Or is it just a marginal move that can help them? Next up for the Lakers, they got the Boston Celtics. I got some stats. You guys aren't going to like these stats. I'm a stat guy all of a sudden. All of a sudden now when I find the right stats, I'm like, wow, I've got to share it with everybody. There's some stats on the Lakers going into the game tomorrow against the Boston Celtics. I really just kind of want to talk a little bit more of what would it mean if they beat the Celtics? What would it mean if they lost to the Celtics? And then some of those stats that I was mentioning, I was referring to, we'll get into that as well. Do we already know what's going to happen this year? Yeah, sometimes you're like, I have no idea what this team's going to do or what that team's going to do, or it'd be a surprise or a shock or whatever the case is. Do we kind of already know what the result's going to be for the Lakers? I'll tell you what I mean by that. D'Lo, I think, throws a little shade at the Lakers. I think. I got a clip when he's in Brooklyn, but I don't even know if it's throwing shade or it's just him telling the truth. So we can all make that determination. There was an article I read this morning about how a congressman was trying to do something to stop the Dodgers' deferral payments. So that might be the only way to stop the Dodgers. And I'm all in. I'm all in. Where do I sign? Where do I sign up? Do I got to drive to Sacramento? I'm all in. Who's coming with me? And then ask Slee at the end of the show. So if you guys got some Ask Slees, I'd hold off on the Ask Slees, wait till a little bit later, because if you throw them out now, then I probably don't see them. So that's the one thing that I would suggest. We can get into some of those Ask Slees a little bit later. Ask Lee, what is Ask Lee? Yeah, throw any question my way. and we'll spend some time talking about it. Does not have to be sports related. Preferred that it's not sports related. All right, let's take a look at the comments, and we'll get the show started. Good morning, Slee. Good morning to you. Okay. Let's see here. What do we got here? Slee, what happened to the post-game show last night? I kept waiting and waiting. That's on me, my brother. That's on me. I couldn't do it last night. I thought I was going to be able to, and then I was like, all right, well, you know what? Just record it. And that's what I ended up doing. So just recorded it and posted something. So if you want just straight Laker basketball, not long, maybe 20, 22 minutes, something around there. So that is there. All right. Got Ethiopian beans from Heart Roasters in Portland this morning. Phenomenal. I know this. There's certain places around the world where they're known for their coffee. Ethiopia is one of those places. I think I've mentioned this to you guys. I took years back, I went to Tanzania. Phenomenal coffee there too. But on my way to Tanzania, I think I was on Ethiopian Air, and we stopped in Ethiopia. And even at the airport, I was like in one of those lounges. I'm like, what is going on here? It's the greatest coffee I've ever had in my life. Good morning from Honolulu. Good morning, Slee. Good morning, Big Slee. Good morning to everybody. All right. If I miss you guys, then my apologies there. But let's get the show started. All right. So real quick here. Yes, Ethiopia, Colombia, Cuba. Oh, Cuba's Cuban coffee is so strong too. Turkish coffee is very well known. When I ever go, when I'm out in El Cajon in East County out there, every Middle Eastern family, if you go visit them, they're like, "Can we get you a cup of Turkish coffee?" I'm like, "Of course you can." Strong, very, very strong. I'm ready to go for. I go for sprints. I go sprints. I run the 40 back and forth after I have some Turkish coffee. All right, stop distracting me. Okay, this is my show here. All right, it's not your show. All right, just joking here. Okay, Lakers win, no big deal. They beat the Wizards, literally worst team in the NBA. They got 6 wins. They've lost 11 games in a row. I don't understand. Like these, when I watch a team like Washington, I'm going to tell you how crazy I am. When I watch a team like Washington, I say to myself, Al, you know what? You can be a GM in the NBA. You could be a general manager. Of course you can. Go look at the Wizards. What is that team? What direction are they going in? They paid Kuz. They paid Jordan Poole. They thought those two guys are going to run the franchise. Like it just sometimes you get motivation in life. When I watch the Wizards, I get motivation. Hey, Slee, you still got a shot. You still got a shot in the league. Lakers beat the Wizards. No big deal. Leave that alone. Last night, Dorian Finney-Smith, and I know probably a lot of Laker fans are going to say, Al, it's Dorian Finney-Smith against the Wizards. So anything that the Lakers did against the Wizards means nothing. And frankly, I understand where you're coming from. And I'm not going to sit here and try to change that or justify that or any of that stuff. The Wizards suck. They're awful. Everybody knows that. But I think for me, one of the things that I've been hoping to see is Dorian Finney-Smith have a game where he's productive. Okay. The Lakers really, really need Dorian Finney-Smith to be productive. All right. So he hit 4 threes yesterday, 6 of 8 from the field. He had a nice game. Dorian Finney-Smith had a nice game. Like I mentioned, I know who the Lakers' opponent was, so you're never going to put too much stock into that. However, what I will tell you is this. I just need to see that Dorian Finney-Smith feels more and more comfortable. Maybe it takes a game like the Wizards for him to feel more and more comfortable, because tomorrow, when they're taking on the Boston Celtics at Crypto, it is going to be so important, not just for tomorrow, but for the rest of the season, that Dorian Finney-Smith is a productive player. Can I tell you guys, there are so many reasons why the Lakers need Dorian Finney-Smith to be a good player. All right, let me give you some of these examples. Number one, they need him. You go look at that roster. You go look up and down that roster. There's a lot of players that are just naturally inconsistent. I know I say that all the time, and it probably gets annoying saying it. Do you know what Rui's going to give you every night? Because I don't. Do you know what Gabe Vincent's going to give you every night? I don't. Max Christie, Dalton Connect, go down the list of every single player. The only 3 players that I have some sort of, confidence. Of course, LeBron and Anthony Davis, I got a good idea what they're going to give. Reeves could be a little up and down. Reeves could have a game where he's super efficient, a lot of assists, or Reeves can have a game like yesterday where I think he had 16 points, but it took him 15 shot attempts to get those 16 points, and he was 1 of 8 from the three-point line. They are so desperate for consistency. And Dorian Finney-Smith, there's many reasons why they need DFS to work on this Lakers team. One of the reasons is, just go look at the roster. He's a player that has to produce, and he has to be a player that produces every single night. Let me give you another reason why DFS is so important. They need to win that trade. All right? If put D'Angelo Russell and his skill set away. Put whatever he brought to the Lakers and put that to the side. Clearly, the Lakers thought they need to trade D'Angelo Russell, and they need to bring a different type of player in, and they identified a player, and it was Dorian Finney-Smith. But you know what we cannot have happen since that trade went down? This is what we cannot have happen. What we can't have happen is people in the chat, either in the morning or during the post-game show, saying, Al, are we sure that was the right trade? Al, are we sure that the Lakers shouldn't have used D'Angelo Russell's contract? I'm not saying the justification of keeping D'Lo on the team. What I'm talking about is D'Lo's contract was very important. There were a lot of teams that had interest in D'Angelo Russell's contract. There's a lot of teams out there that thought to themselves, okay, if we make a move for the Lakers, all right, what are we getting back? Can we get some draft compensation? I like D'Lo's contract because that money is off the books by the time the year is done. D'Angelo's contract was very important. And if you were going to make a trade using D'Lo's contract, you better win that trade. You better be bringing in a player that you feel really comfortable with is the right fit for the Lakers for the immediate future, and then, hopefully for the next couple of years or so. So the Dorian Finney-Smith trade, it has to work for the Lakers, and they need him to be a productive player, but they also need to make sure that we're all not looking past the trade deadline and saying, damn, we could have got that player with D'Lo's contract and we didn't do that. Or that player would have been a lot more productive for the Lakers. It's a weird thing for the Lake Show. How many different players have we seen coming into the trade? Dorian Finney-Smith, I think, was shooting 43, 44% from three, something along those lines. DFS was very, very productive from the three-point line. How many different players have we seen that have either came to the Lakers through a trade, came to the Lakers in the offseason, came to the Lakers through a buyout, and then all of a sudden they're not the same player? That actually, the clip that I'm going to play from D'Angelo Russell a little bit later, I should probably actually just do that right after. I'll do that right after. The clip from D'Lo talks a little bit about that. Does that have something to do with the Lakers? Does that have to do with people feeling the pressure? Does that have to do with the ball doesn't move enough? Whatever the case is, Dorian Finney-Smith, 16 points last night, hit 4 threes, 6 of 8 from the field. Very important. Critical for the Lakers that man works on this roster. Like I said, I've already seen enough comments where people are like, hey, Al, are we sure that was the right trade? Are we sure that's exactly what the Lakers wanted to do? They want to trade for DFS. And then the biggest thing is when you start looking at all the different trade scenarios out there, when you start looking at the type of players Lakers can get, every article mentions, well, they can't get this player or that player because they already traded D'Angelo Russell. So that gives you a little bit of that. I'll play that D'Lo clip here in just a second. I just want to see some of the comments here as we go. Let's see here. Oh no, don't start doing this, guys. I don't want to start seeing this. Am I going to start seeing this? All right, let me read a couple of these here, and then we'll go. Turn the game off at halftime. I don't blame you. Good question, Slee. Why doesn't JJ give Shake a chance instead of forcing Vincent on us? I would not mind seeing Shake Milton get some opportunities. But let me stay on topic here because, like I said, I really want to see what people think. DFS was a lateral move, a move Rob made just to go through the motions of being a GM. Yeah, that's not good if that was the case. Again, I go back to it. Some of this has to do with, if you were going to trade D'Angelo Russell, was just such a key piece in that chess on that chessboard. You don't have too many pieces left. You can't make any mistakes with the pieces that you have. You don't have crazy assets. You're not sitting in a position of strength. So I thought that D'Lo trade was going to be critical. It was going to be important, and you got to make sure whatever trade that you make, because once you made the trade for D'Lo, once you traded D'Lo and that contract was gone, basically guys like Zach LaVine, Brandon Ingram, Jimmy Butler, all those guys are gone. So the question was going to be, okay, if you get DFS, are you good now? At least from that perspective, do you feel comfortable with it? I did when the trade happened. And then, and still to this point, I'm sitting there saying to myself, oh, no, they're going to need more from Dorian Finney-Smith. This guy can't be a player that's super inconsistent or unreliable. He's got to be a player that the Lakers look at and are very, very confident with his play night in and night out. All right, let me see what else. See what we got here. No one wants to face the Lakers in the playoffs. I don't know about that. I don't know about that at all, to be honest with you. I think, do you think the Denver Nuggets are concerned about facing the Lakers in the playoffs? Do you think OKC is concerned about facing the Lakers in the playoffs? I think Memphis and Houston would be interesting. Memphis has not had good luck against the Lakers. They haven't. Houston's super young, and I don't know if we know what they're going to be come postseason. So I think there are some teams out there that got no problem facing the Lakers. But I think that also comes with the territory, right? Matchups, what's it going to look like, everything else. All right, let me get a couple more here on DFS. He's so inconsistent. Isn't that just every Laker player that comes? All right, let me read a couple of these supers, and then I want to play this this clip of D'Angelo Russell. Let me wait on the supers just because I don't think it's not really on topic. So I'll get to those supers here in just a second. Let's look at this D'Lo clip, because as I sit here and I'm talking about D'Angelo Russell and I'm saying, hey, this guy's got to work. I'm talking about Dorian Finney-Smith. As I say that Dorian DFS has to work and D'Lo's contract was important, and all these players that have got traded to the Lakers, and then all of a sudden they're not the same player, or all of a sudden they're not hitting their shots, or maybe they just don't look as comfortable. I mean, the player that comes right off the gate, two players, Malik Beasley, who's balling right now, Spencer Dinwiddie, who we watched when the Lakers were in Dallas a couple weeks ago or so, maybe about 3 weeks ago or so. Those are just a couple players. And I know there's a long laundry list. Okay, let me share my screen here real quick, and I want you guys to take a look at what D'Lo said. And listen, if there's some truth to what D'Angelo Russell is saying, take a quick listen.
Dude, I'll never take being able to play free basketball like this for granted again. This is a style and a play that obviously we got the best performance team as well.
I'll never take being able to play free basketball like this for granted again. Okay, keep listening.
Well, they keep guys fresh, they keep guys in shape, and they keep them prepared for the minutes and the load that they're about to play. And so, for me, my body is not prepared for this. I didn't prepare for this all season, all summer.
I get a little confused with that one. My body is not prepared for this. I think what he's trying to say, stylistically, the way the Nets play versus the way the Lakers play. And listen, I'm not trying to make a case here that the Nets are going to go out and win an NBA championship, but I think it's interesting what he's saying about playing freely. Take a listen.
Adjustment for me as well. My body's adjusting as well. So, like I said, just keep listening to the training staff. They're putting me in the best position to adjust mid-season and not be vulnerable out there.
Okay, the quote to come: I'll never take being able to play free basketball like this for granted again. I'm going to tell you guys something that I usually read pretty often here in the comments. And listen, this is part of the show that I enjoy. I enjoy getting Laker fans' opinions. Everybody kind of has their own thoughts, and we don't have to all think alike. Everybody kind of, will share their viewpoint. But I get a lot from Laker fans, and I'm going to ask this question to Laker fans that are out there. Does D'Lo have a point? Yesterday I was talking about midway point to the season. Here's some things I like. Here's some things I don't like. The things that I didn't like about the Lakers, just stylistically, they're not a fun watch. They're not. The ball sticks a lot. Defensively, they're all over the place. When they get cracked in the chin, they're not fighting back. They kind of just take the punches. D'Lo have a point here? Is this a shot at the Lakers? Is this a shot at LeBron? That's the thing that I hear most from people is, well, how are you going to play with LeBron James? How are you going to play with LeBron at this stage of his career? LeBron, he's holding on to the ball too much. Even Austin Reeves, there are times where I think Austin Reeves where that ball's not moving. Austin, it's kind of sticking with him as well. Stylistically for the Lakers, it's not a fun watch. It's just not. You watch other teams out there, and maybe it's a lack of talent, but I think there are a lot of role players that play with the Lakers or play with LeBron or play on this specific team, and they know LeBron and AD eat first and everything else that happens after that. It's almost like when you get your shot, you're not in rhythm, or um, when you get your shot, you don't know when that shot's coming back, so you better not miss that shot. It's just the reality of it. And this isn't me making a case for D'Lo or not making a case for D'Lo, but Dorian Finney-Smith to me is a perfect example of, let's see how the rest of this season pans out. Let's see how the next couple of weeks go. Is Dorian Finney-Smith going to be a team like he was in Brooklyn, shooting almost 45% from three, and then a completely different player here? Or is he going to be able to bring what he had in Brooklyn and obviously complement and add to what the Lakers already have? I don't have that answer. I don't think D'Angelo Russell was, going out of his way to say, here's an opportunity for me to take a shot at the Lakers. I was just telling the truth. I'll never take being able to play free basketball like this for granted again. By the way, that doesn't mean Brooklyn's winning. That doesn't mean Brooklyn's going to win. It doesn't mean Brooklyn's going to make the playoffs. I think he's just talking about offensively, the ball is moving, things are flowing. It's more natural. I don't think you typically associate all that stuff with the Lakers when you're talking Lakers basketball. All right, let's see some of the comments here. I'll take good DFS over bad D-Lo any day. Remember, this is never an argument of should the Lakers have held on to D'Angelo Russell. You guys know my take on that. At no point have I made a case that D'Lo was the right guy for this team. At no point have I made the case that, oh my God, I can't believe they traded D'Angelo Russell. I haven't. I think my point on Dorian Finney-Smith is he has to work. He has to. That's kind of the pressure that's on the front office, that's on Pelinka when he made that trade, and it's on Dorian Finney-Smith. He has to work. There is no lateral move, as some people said. You can't have a lateral move. This one has to work. All right, let's see what this. JJ loves DFS. That's a huge part of it. All right, let's keep going here. I'm way behind. Damn, way behind. No, D'Lo doesn't have a point. What D'Lo means is playing non-championship basketball because playing with expectations is too hard. He is weak. Alan, I appreciate the comment. But let me ask you this. What the Los Angeles Lakers have shown you this year is championship basketball? And I'm the first one jumping on. If you guys have listened to me in the past, I don't think D'Lo plays a winning style of basketball. I prefer D'Angelo Russell not on this team. But let's be careful about championship basketball, because have you seen championship basketball this year from the Lakers? Because I haven't. I mean, I think that's too strong of a word in regards to that. I think some people might be getting caught up in me thinking D'Lo should be on this team. If you've listened to me, that's not the point that I'm making at all. D'Lo was a cone on defense and wasn't helpful unless he was making threes. You're right about that. You're definitely right about that. The biggest asset that D'Angelo Russell was to the Lakers is very simple. His contract. That's it. That's the biggest asset that D'Lo was to the Lakers. By carefree, he means no expectations. That part, I think you're right about that. I think there are times where the Lakers can use more carefree basketball. Would you guys agree with that? I think there are times where, you watch Lakers basketball and it's like ball sticking too much, too predictable, kind of the same people taking the same shots. I think all that stuff. I think that's kind of come with the territory of the Lakers. All right, let's see a couple more of these. Free to D'Lo means running the offense and making the read off a pick and roll, not running the sets that JJ was doing. Well, D'Lo was also having one of the worst seasons he's probably had in his career. He was averaging 12 points a game when he was on the Lakers. D'Lo had to go, period. D'Lo had to go. The bigger question now is Dorian Finney-Smith going to fit the way the Lakers need him to fit? All right. So we'll keep things kind of moving. I know that's a conversation we keep going on. Let me get to a couple of these supers here and we'll keep it going. Northborough AES, thank you for the super. Cheers to you, brother. Appreciate you. D'Lo is a lover, not a fighter. DFS will not fight, or DFS will fight. Rui Reeves are good, but they don't fight. Won't get into faces for a win. The Lakers need more fighters. No, I think Reeves has that grit. I like Reeves' grit. DFS, no question about it. And you need players like that come postseason. But DFS, no question about a fighter. Reeves, I would say, is a fighter. Rui, I would agree with you. Now, Rui's too nice to me. Rui's too. I don't see enough from Rui Hachimura. And listen, I've interacted with him. One of the nicest guys you're going to meet. But if I'm just talking about what I see on the basketball floor every single night, Vando eventually comes back. You got DFS. All right, then Rui's the odd man out. Potentially. I mean, there was an article a couple weeks ago. It's like they wouldn't trade Rui or Dalton Connect. What are you talking about? What do you mean they wouldn't trade Rui or Dalton Connect? Are you trying to improve the roster or are you not? Let's get another one here. Part of the DFS appeal is getting more out of Rui with the second unit. Not on the second unit yet. I think the question is going to be, will they make a trade or will they make a change if Vando comes back? Can I just say this real quick on Vando? We're still here and Vando still hasn't played a game. They're not going to know. There was an article that I was reading this morning talking about how if Jared Vanderbilt, they want to get some time with him to see what exactly they're going to need. There's no more time left. There's 2.5 weeks. And even if he came back tomorrow, which I don't think anybody's expecting for him to come back tomorrow, or even if he came back by the start of next week, let's play out those scenarios. Let's say he did. You're going to know enough in a week and a half whether, what you need and what you don't need based on Jared Vanderbilt, who hasn't played in a year. Last time Jared Vanderbilt played was against the Boston Celtics on February 1st. When is the last time you saw LeBron set off an off-ball screen for a shooter? Brandon Bowles, thank you for the super. Kevin Brown, thank you for the super. Northborough AES, thank you for the super. Brandon, when's the last time you saw LeBron set off an off? Yeah, listen, I think there's the name LeBron James, and then there's the player LeBron James. The name LeBron James is a 4-time NBA champion, somebody that will be considered as, if not the greatest, one of the greatest to ever do it. And then there's the name LeBron James, the player LeBron James, that at this stage of his career, you're still asking for so much from a 40-year-old. I mean, he had a triple-double yesterday, and I know people are going to say, oh, well, he's stat patting, right? He's just padding his stats. That's what people are going to say. All right, fine. That's fine. Say that. They're going to say, well, it's against the Wizards. Fine. I get it. Go ahead and say that. He's 40. The problem with the Lakers, they're depending on a 40-year-old. That's the problem. He should be the third best player on a championship team. Not the second. Some nights the best player. No, he should be the fourth best player or the third best player. Let me get another one of these. JJ slowly and surely wearing the team off of bad defensive lineups. Rui and Reeves have both been on the bench with the twin big lineups lately. Try something different. I don't care what it looks like. Here's the problem. I'm going to read you guys here some stats, all right? I'm going to keep this up in Northborough AES. So thank you for the super there, brother. Let me read you guys a couple stats here that are, I got to be honest, kind of mind-boggling. So as we try to analyze the Lakers and we try to look at, hey, are they good? Are they not good? Or maybe we already have our answer. They're average at best. Let me throw a couple random stats at you. I pulled this. I saw the story in The Athletic this morning. The record versus elite and versus the bad teams in the NBA. I'll tell you guys what it is. By the way, today's show is basically all Lakers. Just a heads up on that. And no guest or anything. We're just sitting here. Lakers 12-1 after last night's win versus teams below 500. Okay. 11-17 versus teams above 500. It's the worst record versus teams above 500 compared to all the 10 current playoff and play-in teams. So take the top 10 teams in the Western Conference. Who's got the worst record of all those teams in the playoffs or in the play-in? Top 10 in the West. Lakers have the worst record versus teams above 500. Obviously, you don't like that stat. Let me give you another stat, which is this one throws me off a ton, but it kind of says something as well. And again, this is going back to JJ's figuring out, what lineups he wants, what it is. I don't think you could tell any of that when the Lakers are playing when they're playing the Washington Wizards or the Miami Heat, who's a 500 team, or the San Antonio Spurs, who are below 500 and blew out the Lakers at home. I don't think you could tell any of that versus these types of teams. But let me give out one more stat here that's on the Lakers. So right now, if you look at the Lakers' record, they're 5 games over 500, right? And I've said this before. I've said as we hit the halfway point, there's a part of me that says, okay, halfway, you're 5 games over 500, 6 in the Western Conference. That's not terrible. That's not awful. Listen to this stat and how crazy this stat is. They're on pace to win 45 games. But there is a website out there that analyzes team performance, strength of schedule, all this other factors that come into play. So they're on pace right now to win 45 games. However, their expected total is 36 wins based on the trajectory that they're going in, based on the teams that they have left. That's a 9-game swing. They're not going to win 36 games, guys. They're going to win more than 36 games. I think we'd all agree with that. But how crazy is that? You're on pace for 45, but based on the schedule that you've had and some other determining factors, they're expecting the Lakers to win 36 games. I don't like those stats. So when I look at this comment here and I see JJ's figuring this out, you're not figuring this out against the Wizards. You're not figuring this out against San Antonio or Miami. Tomorrow when you take on the Boston Celtics, all right, that's a different question. All right, let's do it already. James to Golden State. I got a topic that I'm going to get to in just a second, and the topic is going to be about the Lakers picking a path. And it's also going to be, do we kind of already know the result of the Lakers? So I'm going to come back to this in just a little bit. I appreciate the super. Couple more comments here that I'm going to get in, and then we'll go to the next topics. Why don't Lakers make a pick trade like Suns did? If Lakers pick with Bron on team is valuable, why don't Lakers make pick trades like the Suns did if the Lakers pick with LeBron on team is valuable? Okay. The Phoenix Suns yesterday made a trade where I think they acquired 3 more first rounders, kind of late first rounders, but 3 more first rounders. The Suns are stocking up. Suns are going to go make a move. If you ask me, I think they're probably going to, it's a good chance they probably end up with Jimmy Butler. We'll see what happens. That's actually the concern I have with some of the teams that are behind the Lakers. Suns are in desperation mode. So will the Suns go out there? They're all in, so they don't really care. They're going to do whatever the hell it takes. And if the Suns and the Heat make a trade, I'm sure the Heat will win that trade. But that doesn't mean in the short term that the Suns can't be better. Will the Warriors do anything? Will the Kings do anything? Will the Clippers be active? There's some teams that are behind the Lakers right now, or maybe just a hair in front like the Clippers are. We already know kind of the top 4, top 5 teams in the Western Conference are clearly better than the Lakers. Now, if going to a 7-game set, we would see. But, so to answer your question here, I don't know if the Lakers have the assets to do what the Suns did. And frankly, the Suns, they don't give a flying you-know-what about their situation or their predicament at all. They're all in. Kevin Brown, if Bruce Brown, Lonzo Ball are serious buyout candidates, Lakers should consider shedding $8 million to get under the first apron. Draft capital for Walker Kessler would allow us to sign either. Yeah, I don't think both of those players. There's too much value in Bruce Brown and Lonzo Ball to be buyout candidates. So I don't think that's how you're going to acquire those players. I don't think so. I don't think that's going to be happening that way. Okay, let me take this into my next topic. All right. I'm going to give you my prediction on something here real quick. My prediction is Lakers are going to make another move. And my prediction is it's going to be it's not going to be, this crazy huge move. I don't think it's going to be that. I think the Lakers are going to make a move that is another kind of piece around the edge. By the way, they don't have a choice. If they don't make another move, then I don't know why they're not sellers. It's the last thing that's going to happen, the last path the Lakers are going to take. If I told you here are the paths Lakers are going to make, small move, huge move, or start selling all their assets. Selling all their assets is the last thing that's going to happen. Making a big move would be the second, most likely scenario. And I think the most likely scenario is going to be they make a small move. I don't know how much that's going to improve the roster. I don't know how much that's going to improve the team. But I'll tell you this. Doesn't it feel like we kind of already have an idea what's going to happen the rest of the year? Let me give you an idea of what I think is going to happen. I think before February 6th, the Lakers are going to make another kind of mid-trade. Not a crazy move, not a big-time move, but one of those trades where they ended up with Jonas Valanciunas, or they ended up with Robert Williams, or they ended up with maybe a wing player, another kind of two-way player that's got a little bit more of a defensive presence, or maybe another creator, a point guard. Even though I still do feel like they're going to end up with another big. Doesn't it feel like that's what they're going to do before we get to the NBA trade deadline? I think we all agree you're not trading for Dorian Finney-Smith and not using any of your first rounders or trading other assets without another move in mind. Because if you didn't have another move in mind, then you might as well just kind of held on to D'Angelo Russell and held on to those assets. I just don't see a reason why they would have made a move without looking to make another move. So I think we could all agree on that. Let me keep going here. I think we all agree the Lakers are going to make the playoffs. Okay? Whether that's playing and then you get in, or that's just make the playoffs, they're a top 6 seed, something along those lines. I think that part we feel pretty comfortable about. Maybe there's some teams that get better. Maybe Sacramento keeps shooting up the standings. They've won 9 of their last 10 games. Maybe Phoenix all of a sudden makes another trade for Jimmy Butler and they hit a different stride, and maybe Lakers end up in the playing tournament. But I feel like they're going to make the playoffs. Maybe they win a round. I think we all agree that when the dust settles, they're not going to be competing for an NBA championship. That's how I feel right now. I think we all already know as well what the future probably is going to be for the Lakers. LeBron's going to play, what do you think? One more year after this year? And then we're going to look at this Lakers roster, and then there's going to be major question marks of, clearly not enough young talent that you can build around. What's Anthony Davis going to be thinking if LeBron is not here? And then you start kind of trying to figure out what the future is going to be. I thought yesterday when I had Dylan Hernandez on at the LA Times, I thought it was interesting. I think he was basically saying, like, look, when LeBron's done, expect what, you saw for those last couple of years after Kobe, or even during Kobe, during the end there, that the Lakers are just drafting young players and kind of hoping that something great happens because a player decides he wants to come play for the Lakers brand, which, by the way, is not out of the ordinary. It's happened in the entire history of the Lakers franchise. There's always stars that end up on the Lakers. One way or the other, a star is convinced to come to the Lakers, and I'm sure that trend will continue in some capacity. Let me tell you guys why I set it up like that. I feel like I already know what's going to happen this year with the Lakers. They'll make another mid-trade. They'll be good. They'll be good. They won't be great. They'll be a little bit better than average. They'll make the playoffs, and then maybe make a little noise, but nothing crazy to where you're like, oh my gosh, this team, these are true contenders. That's how I feel. That's kind of how I feel. Um, the dust will settle for the Lakers, and I don't think this is a, you know, I don't think it's crazy. I don't think I'm trying to be disrespectful, any of that stuff. I kind of feel like, yeah, that's kind of what they are, kind of what they've been the last couple of years, and they would need a lot of things to kind of go their way in order to make some type of run in the playoffs. It's kind of the same story, it feels like, for the Lakers. And if we think it's going to be different, I don't know why we think it would be different. Still got to make a trade. I mean, I still would make a trade. I still would. I know people would say, "Well, why the hell would you say all that?" And then still make a trade. Because I'll tell you why. Because they're also not selling. That's why. All right, some people here, I'm not sure about the playoffs. The only hope that the Lakers and Celtics have to play back-to-back games, maybe they're tired. I'm going to get into Lakers, Celtics in just a second. Let's see what we got here. Talk Dodgers. Lakers talk is getting me down. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry, buddy. But it's kind of like the reality, right? Like, I think it's kind of just the reality of the Lakers situation. Lakers perennial playing team, just like the Bulls. Let me see a couple more of these comments here. I hate this roster. Wow. That's hate is a very strong word. Very, very strong word. Let's see what else we got here. I'm trying to package Vando and Gabe for DeJounte Murray. How about that? How about that for a quick second? How about that? All these guys that we've heard their names around the Lakers for how long? DeJounte Murray. Okay, I didn't do this yet, and I promoted it. We got to see Jonas Valanciunas yesterday. You guys want to see Jonas on the Lakers? Does he feel like that guy? Does he feel like he would be a game changer? Like, how much do you think Jonas Valanciunas would improve the Lakers? And I kind of have a little bit of a feeling how I think most people would think about it. But let me throw a little info your way, because I think it'd be a little helpful. Jonas is the first year of a 3-year contract, not an expensive contract. He's owed 10 this year, a little bit over 10 next year, and then 10 on the dot the year after that. He's about 11-8 a game, somewhere along those lines. 32 years old, 58 games of playoff experience. You know, I always look at. I did this with Dorian Finney-Smith as well. Anytime I talk about a player that the Lakers are going to potentially trade and, you know, trying to make a playoff run, I always like to see how much experience do they have in the playoffs. I always like to see, were they effective in the playoffs or not? Was the moment too big for them, or were they comfortable? And Jonas, I mean, listen, the guy's not going to be asked to, you know, do anything crazy, but he's 13-10 a game in the playoffs, 58 playoff games, played in Toronto, played in New Orleans, played in, who am I missing here? I'm missing another team here. Memphis, I think. But anyways, the guy has, you know, clearly got some playoff experience. I look at the guy, and we've heard his name so much, and we've heard about potentially trading for him. He's kind of one of the guys where I'm like, all right, can he help the Lakers? I think they're better with him than without him. But do I think he's going to be this game changer? Probably not. You know, probably not. I think the big men that Laker fans have been thinking about or hoping for is, look, there was only one Dwight Howard at the end of his career that was just a perfect fit for the Lakers. JaVale McGee, kind of up and down the floor. We knew what he was able to do. Jackson Hayes is a poor man's JaVale McGee, I guess, if you want to call it. But JaVale McGee also was a champion before he came to the Lakers. He's also somebody who'd been in the league for a long time, ton of playoff games, everything else. Dwight Howard, we know his resume. Is Jonas Valanciunas a player that if the Lakers got, you would feel, all right, let's go into this playoff run? Or does it feel like, all right, we got him, but is it going to really change that much of the result? I'll read some of the comments. I think the way I feel is, I got some hesitations. If they ended up with him, I'd say, all right, well, they They needed another big man. They certainly got a little bit of a bruiser. Now he's slow. He's going to probably be a defensive liability at certain times and everything else. If you told me, hey, you want a younger Walker Kessler or you want Jonas, give me the younger Walker Kessler, who's probably going to be with your team for a few years and you could kind of build off of, and is a double-double guy and is 2 blocks a game. Jonas is not going to get that many blocks. But because this is the Lakers played the Wizards yesterday, it's probably the last time we're going to talk about Jonas Valanciunas. I'm curious to get some Laker fans' thoughts on him specifically. Let's see what people say. Not another stiff. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, Dwight's still around. Clearly, that's not happening anymore. Clearly not happening anymore. Kessler or Miles Turner? Oh, I love Miles Turner. Miles Turner I really, really like. Here's the one thing with Miles Turner. It sounds like when I was having a conversation with Dan Weike that he thinks Miles Turner could potentially still be available at some point, but it probably would not happen until closer to the trade deadline. Miles Turner is another name that we've heard with the Lakers for a long time. Here's the problem with Miles Turner. Pacers are playing good ball. I don't think they're going to trade him. Why would they trade him now? They're 24-19. They're 5th place in the Eastern Conference. They're 8-2. I mean, what would that say to their fan base if they traded Miles Turner? I don't think they're going to trade him. That's my problem with the Indiana Pacers is if the Pacers were sitting at, if they were 14-30, if they were, oh my God, Philly's lost 7 in a row. Jesus. What the hell is going on with that team? If they were a team like Philly where they were reeling and they had no shot, then I think that's a little bit different of a question. Miles Turner was the one that got away. Here's one here that they like Jonas. Jonas gets us one more win in the playoffs, but still one and done. No to Jonas. All right. Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I just don't know how much of an impact he would really, really have. All right, let's keep going here. Miles Turner is ideal. Yeah, I think a lot of people feel the same way. Kessler is good, but pretty sure Ainge wants to rob a team, wants to rob if they do make a deal. Lakers need a rebounder. All right. Somebody here saying it'd be nice if AD mans up. All right. Here, no Joel Embiid. That's fine. Losing 7 games in a row in the Eastern Conference. Come on. I mean, that's pretty bad. All right, let's keep things moving. If you got some thoughts here, go ahead and throw them in. I will start saying now, probably in about 5-6 minutes, about 8:55, I'm going to do Ask Lee. So if you got some Ask Lee questions, throw them in. Let me get into a couple more topics that I want to get into here real quick. First off, I'm going to spend more time tomorrow previewing the Lakers and the Celtics. That's the next game that the Lakers have. It's funny. I'm not 100% sure. What would we learn from tomorrow's game if the Lakers just lost again to the Boston Celtics? It'd be like, all right, well, they don't beat teams that are above 500. We know that's not going to happen. And the Boston Celtics are the class of the NBA. I to be honest with you, I don't really care what the Cavs are doing. I'm paying attention to the OKC Thunder because Oklahoma's been very, very impressive. But still to this day, if you tell me you could pick one team in a 7-game set in the NBA, I'm picking Boston over Cleveland. I'm picking Boston over OKC. The disadvantages that the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Oklahoma City Thunder have is that they just haven't won a championship. That's the only disadvantage that they have. It's not that they're not good. It's not that they're not balling. I saw a trade rumor out there that the Cavs are trying to make a deal for Cam Johnson. If they could go make a move for Cam Johnson from Brooklyn, and they get, in my opinion, which is their biggest weakness, is that wing position. Now you're talking for the Cavs. But I do think Boston's going to be the team to beat. So Lakers play them tomorrow. Let's say, hypothetically, Lakers take on the Boston Celtics, and let's say they lost to the Boston Celtics, which is what most people are going to expect. I don't think we're really going to learn all that much. I think you just literally what you would say is it's the same old Lakers. They don't have a chance versus the elite. There's different levels in the NBA, and Lakers are just not on that level. If they beat them, okay, what would it mean? Would we overreact? Would we kind of sit back and say, okay, well, you know what? Maybe they can be an elite team. Maybe it does mean that the Lakers can be dangerous. Maybe it does mean that the Lakers are a move away. I don't know how much you can get out of a regular season game, but it feels like for the Lakers, because they've struggled so much against teams over 500, any win against a team over 500 should be a big deal for the Lakers, and let alone if it's the Boston freaking Celtics. And again, I'm not even talking about the history of the Lakers and the Celtics. I'm not talking about, the different eras, that the Jerry West era, the Magic Johnson Showtime era, the Kobe Powell era, all these franchises and teams eventually had to go through the Celtics, or there were a lot of losses before wins, or more wins than losses, or whatever the case is. I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about the best team in the league versus a Lakers team that has struggled. So tomorrow we'll spend a lot more time on Lakers and the Celtics, but something to keep in mind there as those two teams get ready to face off. The good news is, and I saw somebody say it yesterday, or I'm sorry, I saw somebody say it earlier. The good news is Boston has Clippers tonight, so it'll be a second of a back-to-back for them. Again, they got Boston tonight, Boston and the Clippers tonight, so at least you're catching the Celtics second of a back-to-back. Let me get to a couple of these comments, and then we'll go. Slee, I would trade Connect and a second for Kessler. I like Walker Kessler. I asked, a lot of people were asking me this over the last 3 weeks or so. What happened to Dalton Connect? I was at the game, Lakers Clippers on Sunday, and I asked JJ during the pregame presser kind of what he's thought of his game, how he's trying to encourage him. I think what he's said is basically the man is in his head, and it's clear, Dalton Connect is clearly in his head. I still like Dalton Connect. I still want to see what this man can be, but he is so far in his head, and it's you're talking a month and a half now that he's in his head. Almost 2 months he's been in his head. So his performance, has certainly dropped. I'm a fan of Walker Kessler. Against Celtics, I just want to see fight and effort. Well, if you can't get fight and effort from the Lakers in that game, then they're going to get blown out. Thank you for all the supers, guys. I appreciate it. All right, let me see another one here. Okay, let me get into one more thing, and then we'll do some of these ass sleeves. Keep the ass sleeves coming in, and we'll spend a little bit of time on it. I saw this article this morning. It was in the LA Times. Article says, let me read the front of it. This state senator tried to curb the Dodgers deferral loophole. So far, no luck. So apparently, I'm going to read this off here. Josh Becker would like to. He's a California senator, a Democrat from Menlo Park. The Dodgers have deferred more than $1 billion in salary over the last 5 years. Every dollar of salary deferred could be a dollar the state cannot tax. Here's what he said in a quote. The Dodgers are exploiting that loophole. It was never intended to be for anything remotely like this. The loophole is under federal law. If you earn your salary in one state and retire elsewhere, you may not need to pay income tax on the salary you defer for retirement. All right, let's see. That puts California at risk of losing up to $138 million in revenue because of the Dodgers' deferrals. $90 million on Ohtani's contract alone. Should he return to Japan or move to another state after his deal expires? Here's this quote that he said. Again, this is a state senator. He's exploiting something that was meant to be for people with pensions of $20,000 or $25,000. A small amount of pension later in life as actual retirement. That's what it was meant to be. We set up a system, other people abide by it, and you're basically dodging taxes that other people have to pay for. It's basic fairness. Okay. I'll go a little bit more into into the article. Last March, Becker introduced a bill that urged Congress to establish a reasonable cap on deferred compensation. The first line of the bill, whereas in December 23, the Los Angeles Dodgers signed Ohtani $700 million contract. Basically, what the senator is looking to do, he's asking to close the loophole that's there. I guess it's costing the state a lot of money. Okay, I'm gonna go back to this. Let me go back to the start of when we've had this conversation about the Dodgers. The Dodgers right now are in a position. It's the perfect saying: don't hate the player, hate the game. Right now, everyone has turned their attention on the Dodgers and they're hating on the Dodgers. The problem with that attention towards the Dodgers is I think a lot of that effort is going towards the wrong cause. Let me tell you guys what I'd like to see in baseball. What I'd like to see in baseball is I just want to see a fair fight. That's it. I just want to see squads and teams out there have a legitimate chance to compete for a World Series. It is not set up that way right now. Period. I don't care who you're rooting for. I don't care, what your fan base is. You cannot look me in this camera on the show and tell me honestly that baseball is set on an equal playing field. Okay. And that doesn't mean that there aren't bad owners out there, or there aren't owners out there that don't spend enough money. It doesn't mean that. There's a lot of owners out there that are also cheap and, they're not going to spend on players. They don't care what the fans think because they're just trying to fill their fat pocket. So I get that. I understand that. The Dodgers are in a completely different position. Money's coming from every direction. Shohei Ohtani changed the Dodgers forever. Forever. I'm going to do a separate video on Shohei Ohtani because I think it deserves more of a conversation. But I think we go back to don't hate the player, hate the game. So this state senator can go out there and he could try to say, hey, what the Dodgers are doing is exploiting the system. What the Dodgers are doing is within MLB baseball rules. So if there's energy that's going to go anywhere, it shouldn't go towards the Dodgers. It should go towards Major League Baseball. It's Major League Baseball that have set these rules. It's the Dodgers that are taking advantage of it. It's Major League Baseball that doesn't have a salary cap, so it's the Dodgers that are taking advantage of it. It's, all these regional sports networks that have completely gone under has become a complete disadvantage for a lot of other teams. The Dodgers don't have to worry about that. They got their deal with Spectrum for billions of dollars. The Dodgers are just taking advantage of what they need to take advantage of. The Guggenheim Group could make as much money as they're making and say, you know what? No, we're not going to go out and get Blake Snell. Yeah, we're going to save that money on Tanner Scott. No, we're not going to go out there and re-sign Teoscar Hernandez. They could also do that and just pocket another $200 million or whatever the case is, but they're not doing that. So they are playing within the rules. Hate the game, don't hate the player. And like I've said, and I'll probably say when we talk about this, the only thing I'd like to see in baseball, which by the way, should be in the NBA, should be in the NFL, and NBA and NFL have certainly tried leveling the playing field. Now, if you want to make an argument, Dylan Hernandez yesterday was making an argument, hey, this is going to be good for baseball because everyone's going to want to root against the Dodgers. Well, I don't really know what the term good for baseball is. Here's what I want. I want good for competition. I want good for giving an equal grounds for other teams to try to win a World Series as well. So, that's how I would look at it. And Dodger fans don't have to look at it that way. It's kind of funny, me talking Dodgers and having more dialogue with Dodger fans out there. I'm actually getting more and more comfortable being able to have healthy conversation with Dodger fans. And I don't care if they agree or disagree, but I'm going to at least get my point in and give you my vantage point. Baseball is not set up fairly for 30 squads. It's not. Do I wish it was set up? Do I wish structurally it was set up differently? Of course I do. But that's not the Dodgers' fault. The Dodgers are just taking advantage of what the rules are. The Dodgers are not setting the rules. The Dodgers are following the rules. And they're also, obviously taking complete advantage of, maybe you want to call it a loophole, whatever you want to call it. But for the health of the sport, I do think you have to have a competitive balance. And there is not that competitive balance with the Dodgers right now. So for that, Senator Josh Becker, just tell me where you want me to meet you, and let's go get this thing approved. Do we need some signatures? Let's get our ass up to Sacramento and let's get this thing approved. All right. Those are my comments on the Dodgers. All right. Great question. If the Padres were doing the same thing, Sliwa, would you have a different opinion? Okay. Let's play that out here for a quick second. I'm a Laker fan. Let's say the NBA had no salary cap and the Lakers were able to go out there and spend 3 times, 4 times other teams out there. I would sit in the microphone to you and I would say that from a competitive balance perspective, it's not good for the sport. It's not. You want to have teams walk into, you want to have cities and teams walk in every single year thinking they got a legitimate shot. And maybe you could say in baseball, hey, there's a chance, because what the Dodgers are trying to do is they're trying to take away, hey, it's baseball, anything can happen. They're trying to take away that statement that I've heard for the last, 15 years, 20 years. Hey, it's baseball, anything can happen. So to answer your question here, just because I'm a Padre fan, it doesn't mean my opinion would change. Again, I would say what I'm saying here. It's not the Padres' fault that they went out and they took advantage of all these loopholes. Be mad at MLB baseball. So that's my point here. My point is more than anything else. And I appreciate you putting the comment in. I think that's a fair perspective. Oh, you're saying this now. What if your team was doing it? How would you feel? My team tried spending money, and they might have some of the worst contracts in all baseball. So clearly, it's not just about spending money. Are you spending the right money? You think Mookie's a good contract? Phenomenal contract. You think Freddie is a good contract? Phenomenal contract. Shohei looks like a complete discount. It's not just spending money. Are you spending the right money? Dodgers also spend the right money. They spend money, but they also spend the right money. I don't know if Tyler Glass now is the right money just because he's injury prone. They could take those chances. They could take those chances and still miss. A lot of these other teams can't miss. Let me read another one here real quick. Good for baseball means higher ratings. Yeah, look, I don't think that my definition is different than I think for other people. When people say it's good for baseball, I'm talking about, is it good for other baseball teams, for other baseball cities? I'm not talking about, the sport in general. If you let me tell you what's good in. Let me give you an example. You got we call them the blue bloods, right? You want Michigan, Ohio State, Texas, Georgia, Alabama, maybe Clemson you want to throw in there, USC, Notre Dame. You got in college football these top 10 programs you got these top 10 programs in college football. I get it. When these teams play against each other, more people are going to watch. But there's 30 teams in baseball. Do you really want one team that far above everybody else? Again, don't hate the player, hate the game. Okay, let's get into some ass sleaze here. I got to get into some ass sleaze. So hopefully I got a little bit of what you guys were looking for. Haters going to hate. It's true. I agree with that. Let me see here. What do we got here? Slee, did you have hair at one point? Bro, I had hair. I had like a fro too. Just a pop. No, I really did. I had a lot of hair. And then it just kind of slowly started back here. I started getting the Manu Ginobili. It was like, what's going on? I'm like getting like a little pond back here. You get a little lake that's growing here. And then it all went downhill. He's a Padre fan. No. He's an honest fan. An honest Padres fan. I could be critical and I could give credit. Let me see what we got here. I know there were some food ones here that I'm going to try to see. All right, let's see what we got here. Ashley, I spent some time working around Encinitas Escondido. What are your favorite San Diego restaurants? Mine were Taco Stand, Chico, Matsu. Okay. Taco Stand, phenomenal. They got a few locations. My favorite, I would tell you, my favorite probably taco shop in San Diego is probably Lolita's. Lolita's. I think they started in Bonita, and then they had a location right near Petco Park, but they shut that one down. I can't remember when they shut it down, but I know they shut it down. So I'm gonna go. I'll give you guys another place. This is a random place, and I haven't been visiting enough San Diego restaurants. There's a restaurant called Brockton Villa, which is in La Jolla, but not a crazy place. It's more like a breakfast lunch spot, but its location overlooking the water, phenomenal and casual and very affordable. Brockton Villa. So there's a couple there. I got you. Sleep, best Mediterranean place in San Diego. Guys, I'm telling you, you want Mediterranean food, you want Middle Eastern food, go to El Cajon. Go to El Cajon. You know where actually some of the best Middle Eastern food is? It's the Middle Eastern markets. So you're going to have a market out there that is selling groceries, produce, all that stuff. But they also got a hot food area, and they're making traditional Middle Eastern food. So it would be the equivalent of, let me give you an example. This is probably not the best example. You know, you go to Whole Foods and there's like a hot food area. Some of these grocery stores now have hot food area. It's like that, but they're serving you the food. You're not serving it yourself. And yeah, El Cajon. There's a ton of just these Middle Eastern. There's a place not too far from me. There's a place called Kalen's in El Cajon, Lulu's in El Cajon, and these are grocery stores that have phenomenal Middle Eastern food as well. And it's basically homemade food. Or just stop by my mom's house. She'll whip something up for you guys. All right, let's see what else we got here. Ashley, Eagles or Commanders? I'll root for the Commanders because I like the underdog, but I think the Eagles are going to win. Okay. If by the way, if you threw something in and I didn't get it, then throw it in now because it's just tough for me to get all those going. Don't go into El Cajon in the summer. It gets hot. I don't know if I've told this story to you guys. I know I told it when I was on radio at 710. So my pops, who my dad passed away years ago, good man. My dad. There was a time where, I'm like, I don't know, 19, 20 years old, something like that. I'm going to college. I'm going to school. My dad wanted to start a business together. And my dad says to me, he's like very Middle Eastern like, right? He's like, let's start a business together. I'm like, Dad, I don't know if we know what we're doing, but my dad comes from like a small business background. So he had worked with some businesses before. My dad tells me, he's like, let's open up a mechanic shop in El Cajon. This is going to get to my El Cajon in the summer, though it gets hot. I'm like, Dad, I don't know if you know this, but you don't know jack shit about cars. I don't know jack shit about cars. I'm not sure we want to start a mechanic shop together. He's like, no, mechanic shops, they're killing it. By the way, he's not wrong. I went and got my oil change yesterday. And yeah, let's just say they know what they're doing. Maybe I should have listened to my dad. But all I could just think about is being in El Cajon in 108 degrees in August with this fan that's blowing hot air towards me, and I'm underneath a hood, and there's my dad. By the way, my dad probably would not have gone under the hood. He would have just told me to go under the hood. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, Dad, I don't know if this is a good business idea. So, yes, it gets very, very hot in El Cajon. And when my dad was pitching me the idea of starting a mechanic shop with him, even though both him and I have no idea what the hell goes on under the hood of a car, probably not going to happen. And yes, you are right. It is hot out there. All right. I've been to Lolita's, pretty solid. Best barbecue in San Diego. I'll tell you what the best, I haven't had barbecue in SD in a long time, but I will tell you the most famous one. The most famous one is Phil's Barbecue. So if you're ever out in San Diego, Phil's Barbecue is known as the most famous barbecue spot in San Diego, Phil's Barbecue. I don't know if Randy Jones has like a brick and mortar spot, but Randy Jones Barbecue is served at Petco Park games. When I used to work at the Mighty 1090, I used to work that was the home of the San Diego Padres. Randy Jones used to do the post-game show. So I was working in promotion, so I was always around Randy Jones. Used to play in the league for a long time. Anyways, long story short, solid barbecue too. But Phil's barbecue, from what I understand, is that's kind of the OG out there. Ashley, how many siblings do you have? We'll just keep going with Ashley. You guys want to go Ashley? Go ahead. 2 older sisters. 3 years apart each. So one sister 3 years older than me, the other sister 6 years older than me. So 2 older sisters. All right, I got the best barbecue one in, so we're good on that one. Ashley, who is the current face of the NBA? Ooh, that's a good question. Unfortunately for the NBA, there's still most of the articles I read is on LeBron and Steph, which, by the way, that's not a good sign for the NBA. If you're still trying to milk Steph and LeBron, not good. I think, the goal is, can Wemby be the face? I got some hesitations on Anthony Edwards. I don't know if that guy's the face of the NBA. Tatum, probably not. Shai Gilgeous, I love. Will he be the face of the NBA? I don't know. I don't feel like he gets enough pub. Guys like Joel Embiid, maybe Giannis, maybe Luka. That's probably, those are the guys that are the face of the NBA. So something to keep in mind there. All right, let's keep going here. Thoughts to you, buddy? Thoughts to you? Yeah, never, obviously never an easy thing by any stretch of the imagination. So with you on that one, brother. Let's keep going here. Seen the new Shams report. I have not seen it. All right, let's go to another one here. Hey, Sliwa, would you ever put your shows on Apple Podcasts or Spotify? Yeah, I will. I'm going to get to a point. I'm going to get to a point where I will have a producer for the show. Slowly but surely, I'm kind of trying to improve things for the channel and the show, and hopefully the look and the feel, adding a little music, adding the clips that I'm doing. Hopefully the thumbnails are a little bit better. But as I, one step at a time here. But once I do have kind of like a full-time producer, they'll throw everything up and do what they do. So yes, to ask your question there. All right, let me see what else we got here. Good questions. Slee, I'd like to send you some coffee to try. How can I do that? I've told you guys this before. My email, alanslewa@gmail.com. So if you ever want to get in touch with me on anything, you ever want to chat about anything, you ever want, whatever it is, you can always send me an email. I've had some people send me emails, so I appreciate that. So there's one way to get in touch with me. Oh my gosh, that's old school. Philly Billy or Hartman. So those who don't know, I've been around sports talk radio for a long time. There was a guy named Philly Billy Warndell. There was another guy named Steve Hartman back in the days. They were doing radio for SoCal for a long time. Philly Billy was my guy. Spent a lot of time with that guy over the years. All right, my people. I think we're good. Phenomenal show. Thank you for hanging out. Lakers, Celtics tomorrow. Spend some time on that. Still not sure if I'm going to the game tomorrow night or not. So I'm getting that part figured out. So either way, I'll be doing a live post-game show tomorrow. So just a heads up. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out for Ashley. This is good. If we do this once a week, we do it on Wednesdays and spend 5-10 minutes just kind of answering some random questions. It'd be fun. So thank you. Appreciate you guys being here. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you, everybody.